Today I effed up by thinking my daughter was being assaulted and sending her boyfriend to the hospital. I'm still trying to process what just happened. Today was my daughter's 19th birthday, and I wanted to surprise her by coming home early with a cake. I brought the cake home, slowly tiptoed to her room to surprise her, and heard something I would never unhear. She was having sex with her boyfriend and saying, "Please stop, it hurts, stop it." I ran in, screamed for him to stop, and pulled him off my daughter. I was shouting at him, and my daughter was mortified and screaming at me. I threw him to the ground and accidentally knocked him unconscious. My daughter was frantically explaining to me that it was a fetish and he wasn't hurting her. I told her to get dressed, found a blanket to wrap her boyfriend in, and rushed him to the hospital. He's doing okay now and isn't suffering any major injuries, but I feel awful. I'm not an aggressive person, but it was my daughter, and I truly thought he was hurting her. Edit. It's currently 3 a.m. and I just cooked him some food and will visit him and my daughter at the hospital. His parents live out of town and want to visit tomorrow. Please pray for me. 1 month later, I left out some details that caused a lot of confusion, so I will clear those up now. When I went into the room, I grabbed his shoulders and started screaming at him. He stood up, and I pushed him down. I went over to my daughter to make sure she was okay, and she was screaming that it was a fetish. Her boyfriend was unconscious, and we sat there trying to wake him up. He woke up conscious but was shocked/confused. He was wearing his jeans with his wiener out while they were having sex and was also shirtless, so I wrapped a blanket around him to cover his genitals and upper body and helped him into the car. He zipped himself up in the car, and I gave him my sweater. I realize now how my original post might sound like I was driving him around unconscious, but I would have called the ambulance and not tried driving him myself, as this would have been life or death, so I'm sorry this was misleading. I probably wouldn't have been able to carry him to the car. Anyway, since he was conscious at the hospital, they just had a nurse check up on him, but he had to wait to see a doctor, so he was in the ER for a while. The doctor did some scans and found that her boyfriend didn't have any injuries. He said that, most likely her boyfriend fainted since he didn't hit anything on the way down and woke up shortly after. Her boyfriend has also fainted before, so thankfully he was unconscious due to the fainting and not the actual knockout. After the doctor determined he didn't have any injuries, I called his parents to tell them, and they decided they didn't need to make the long trip. My daughter's boyfriend begged me not to tell them the specifics of what had happened, so we kept it at that. For my daughter, we had a conversation about her kink. She says she has a safe word and has never had to use it, and her boyfriend always takes care of her after sex to ensure she is okay and loved. I told her that I didn't want her to be afraid to have sex at home because it's a safe place, and I didn't want her to feel bad over this. I installed a lock on her door as a little "I'm sorry" gift. I should have done this a while ago to give her some privacy, and I'm glad I've got that covered now. I also vowed never to have any surprise visits again. I got him a card and some chocolate for her boyfriend, and I paid for him to have a night at an Airbnb with her so they could have a private night together.